It said expelled.
What's that?
I am no good at holding my breath. Hey, this season just keeps on getting better, doesn't it? The bubble's gonna burst eventually, though, right? It's got to, but so far, so pretty damn good. Hey, I'm Phil. I'm back for another Doctor Who review. So, Oxygen, the 5th episode of season 10 of Doctor Who. I think that's right. Is it the 5th? I'm pretty sure it's the 5th. The 5th episode of Doctor Who season 10, and this one was written by Jamie Matheson and directed by Charlie Palmer. In a world where... No, wait. Think we need movie trailer voice for this. In a world where capitalism has gone to extremes, oxygen is a product to be sold, and human life just an expense on a spreadsheet. It's a race against time and corpses in AI-controlled suits as the TARDIS team of 3, yes, Nardal is along for the ride this time as well, respond to a distress call that takes them to a space station where you have to buy your oxygen, and the AI is out to kill all human life because it's not very profitable to keep them around.
Instruction received. Organic component will be deactivated. Please remain calm while your central nervous system is disabled.
How does the Doctor defeat this AI? Well, he makes it more profitable for the AI to keep them alive by hooking up their life signs to the core of the station so that if they die, the whole place will blow, which won't be very profitable for the company, and therefore the weird zombie-like things, corpses in AI-controlled suits, decide that it's more profitable to keep them alive, and they actually give them oxygen, and then they can escape, and all is well. I thought the beginning was very good. It set the tone nicely, and the Doctor, with his voiceover, came across very creepily, while also nicely subverting a other well-known sci-fi trope from another sci-fi series in the words he used. That was nicely done, I thought. And when he first started to say it, I was like, where are they going with this? Because are they just ripping off? No, they're subverting it. It's all good. It kind of worked quite nicely to create the creepy atmosphere. Early on, when Nardal's trying to stop the Doctor going away from the Earth and away from guarding the vault, he reveals that he's taken the fluid link out of the TARDIS, which was a nice little throwback to some classic mythology of Doctor Who. The fluid link is something that it popped up a couple of times in the old series. First time, I think, was in the Dalek serial, the very first Dalek serial, where the Doctor says that it's broken and therefore they can't travel. In actual fact, and he needs to refill it with mercury, that's it. But in actual fact, he's just removed it and is pretending it's broken. And then I think there's a couple of other times it comes up. But here, as well as referencing that, it kind of adds a bit to it, because he goes, who told you the TARDIS needed that? I did, and I lie. And away they go. So, did it ever really need the fluid link? Do we know? I mean, I don't know how that makes sense with some of the classic serials, because there are times when the Doctor isn't involved and somebody does something to the fluid link and it either stops the TARDIS or starts the TARDIS. So, I'm not really sure that works, but I quite like the callback, and who knows, maybe he's lying there. The Doctor lies all the time. He could have been lying about the fact that the TARDIS doesn't need the fluid link. He could have just had a spare that he slotted in. I think Doctor Who can sometimes tackle social issues and things and questions about our own real world really well. It does this a lot of the time through allegories of sort of using a sci-fi lens on ideas that exist in our world. I mean, it did this through, obviously, the Daleks are an allegory of the Nazis, and Doctor Who dealt with that whole situation, that whole period of our history really well through the Daleks. And I think this is an episode where it kind of does something, it's a completely different type of thing to the Daleks and the Nazis, but it basically takes a look forward at what one possible route that capitalism could take and the dark paths that might lead to, and it's quite interesting. I liken it a bit to a Black Mirror episode. I love Black Mirror. It's a brilliant TV series. If you haven't checked it out, it's on Netflix. Basically, if you haven't seen it, it's an anthology series where every episode it kind of looks at something that exists in our world at the moment, be that, Tinder or something, and then takes it to an extreme and goes, well, if we don't keep on top of this is what we might end up with, and it might be something like this. And sometimes that's really far futuristic kind of world it comes up with, and sometimes it's like only a couple of years in the future. But all the times you can kind of see, I can see the roots of that in what we've got at the moment. And I think this episode does that very well with capitalism. This could almost be the premise of a Black Mirror episode. And they would handle it in a completely different way, but the basic premise of, the capitalism has reached a point where A, you have to pay for your oxygen, and B, that algorithms will decide if you're worth keeping alive or not, because you're, as an employee of the company, you're not being productive enough. That's an interesting concept, and I really liked the fact that they went there and explored that. It's probably quite a brave thing to do. I think the writer, when the interview, the gist I got was that it's kind of like, it's a good warning to what could happen. Not that what will happen, but what could happen if capitalism isn't restrained by regulations and governments, if it was just left to completely its own devices, where profit is the only goal. As I said, Nardal was in this episode quite a lot. I think it worked quite well. I think his elements of humour worked really nicely. Apart from the one bit of humour that most of the time it gelled in quite nicely. The one that jarred a bit was where he referred to the AI and he thought it was his ex-girlfriend, because he's an AI as well. And I think that was just there to remind us that he's an AI. But I don't know. The AI of the suits didn't strike me as someone, as the type of AI that has sentience in the same way that Nardal does, and a personality in the same way that Nardal does. And I can't really imagine it going on a date, but I don't know. That was the one jarring bit of Nardal in this episode, but mostly I think he fitted in quite well, and I'm continue to be pleased in how they're using Nardal. I thought the whole episode was brilliantly shot. Praise to Charlie Palmer there for that, because just the camera angles he used and the way he shot it and the lighting and everything really contributed to this really creepy feeling, and I think that was exemplified. The best bit in this episode for me was the moment when Bill had lost, suit had malfunctioned. She needed to get the helmet on, but it wouldn't let her put the helmet on, and she was starting they're in the airlock, and the airlock had opened. They were exposed to the vacuum of space, and I thought that was shot amazingly well. We obviously all know that Bill's going to survive. She's the companion, and we're only 5 episodes into the season, and she's a new companion. She's not going to die, but even despite that, even logically knowing that in my head, she was not going to die, I was still on the edge of my seat. I was still tense. I was holding my breath, even. That's how well that was shot, and how much they were able to achieve the tension through everything. The sound design in that was brilliant. The use of the subtle music, the use of the subtle sound effects, the use of the way they did the sort of blurry effects, as if you're seeing through her eyes as she's gradually losing consciousness. It was really well done. Definitely the highlight of the episode for me. And now to our regular feature. We didn't get to see the vault this time, but I still think we got a little bit of information, because when they got back, Nardal was very annoyed that they'd been away from the vault. At the end, he mentions, we almost weren't back in time. So I think that the new information we've got from the vault this week is that they have to do something specific to keep the person or things or whatever it is, I still think it's the master, in there every so often. So they have to be back by a certain time, or to, press a button, feed it, give it some drugs to keep it subdued. I don't know what it is, but something they have to do at a set interval in order to keep it in the vault. It, he, she, whatever, in the vault. Still think it's the master, though. And yeah, that cliffhanger, he's still blind. So, is he going to be blind throughout how long is he going to be blind for? Is he going to... I think the next 3 episodes of the 3-parter, is that right? With the monks. I think that's it. And Missy's back. Hey, next time trailer. But is he going to be blind through all 3 of those? Is he going to be blind longer? Don't know. The only concern I have about him being blind is not him being blind. I think that's a brilliant move. The Sonic shades are back. I'm not happy about that. So that episode, I'm giving that episode a 9 out of 10. That's my highest score so far this season. This was a fantastic episode. Brilliantly written, brilliantly directed and shot, and brilliantly acted. One thing I haven't mentioned, the supporting cast were great in this. They didn't dominate, which was fine. They played the part they needed to, but the most important thing was they felt like real people, which they haven't done previously in a lot of the supporting cast. Certainly not last week's. The students didn't really feel like real people, and in Smile they didn't feel like real people. So it's good to see a group of supporting cast that feel like they are real people. So that was good. 9 out of 10. Let's see if it can build on it next week. Maybe we can get a 10 out of 10. Or is the bubble going to burst? We'll find out. I will be back next week. Pretty sure. So, see you for another review then. Bye.